everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of 31 Days of Indie Horror. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody. I'm here with,
Amanda Megan. Hi, guys.
yes, Amanda was on Indie Film Cafe before, when we did Decoys, and
Mhm.
we're very welcome to have her back here, where it's a little bit different. I mean, we're gonna review another movie that's on Tubi, but this isn't. We're not. There's no stinkometer. There's no scoring of it or rating of it. It's just talking about it and chatting about it and letting people know it exists. And the movie in question is a film called Killer Mermaid. And had you heard of this movie before?
Not before we talked about it. No, I think I had seen it on Tubi's list, but that was it.
I think that's it for a lot of people. I think a lot of people seen it on there, but either just never watched it or maybe they did watch it. I don't know. But I mean, we'll get into more of it, but would you recommend this movie to people?
Not if they want something good to watch.
Ouch. I was listening, or I was telling you before, I was checking out the what is it, IMDb reviews, and one
Mhm.
person was at like a screening of the film, and people were like, I don't know, people were laughing at it, during the screening with the director and cast and the attendance and everything, and kind of people were like making fun of it in a way. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's gonna happen when you put a B movie on that, obviously, whatever. And then, but they said that the Q&A went off pretty good, which was nice. That I'm sure nobody was rude during the Q&A, because if you
Oh, I'm sure.
stuck around for that, most likely you just wanted some information about how they made it, which I mean, they made a movie, they went out and
And I mean,
uh,
that's a huge accomplishment by itself because let's face it, making a movie is not easy.
it is not
So,
you. From your own experience as a director and
um,
writer and actor. So like it's understandable. However, you know, just making a movie isn't enough, really, in my opinion. And especially when you have people like Christina Klebe, who's been in the film business for a while, and she was apparently
mhm.
associate producer, which my take on that was that there's either two things that could have happened with that. Uh, they went union or non-union, and the only way they could have her in the movie, so she was an associate producer. That's sometimes a way around that. Or which I might guess is the thing, because all the other actors, I don't, Franco Nero, but I don't think he's SAG, because
Gotcha. Okay.
he's
I
not.
wasn't familiar with any of the actors on there. I've heard of the name Christina Klebe. But I don't know a whole lot about her or her work or anything. I actually watched it. I was out in Pittsburgh this last weekend visiting a friend of mine, Jason. So he was telling me a little bit about her too. So I have some fun feedback from both of us.
Right. And the big thing is, where I discovered her, and I think a lot of horror fanatics discovered her, including maybe your friend, was the was Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween. She was one of the babysitters in that. And
Okay.
then she kind of went on and does more like indie horror. Plus, I think she does other films too and television, like real work. But
Mhm.
she is a SAG actress, so my guess was that. Or she was an associate producer because she sort of was was sort of producing at times, taking over, doing things for the crew, whatever, and they just gave her an honorary associate producer credit. Associate producer credit, as most people may know, and it's gotten sort of worse because of Indiegogo,
Mhm.
because anybody can buy an associate producer credit, anybody can buy even a producer credit, which I think is utterly ridiculous, because you shouldn't be able to buy a producer credit. A producer is an actual person who's on set, who does actual work on the production. Associate producers are, as was best described, there's a movie, State in Maine, where they were like, "Oh, do you want an associate producer credit?" And the person was like, "Oh, that sounds great. Oh, I'd love to be a, because it makes you sound like you're a producer." And then somebody looks over and goes, "What's an associate producer credit?" And he goes,
Right. I
"Nothing."
had somebody ask me once, they're like, so what does a producer actually do? And I was like, well, honestly, on my level, it means that they gave us money. So, and like, I hate
Well,
to like put it so flatly because there are producers that put a lot of work out there. And obviously, we can't make the films without some kind of financing. But
right.
basically, that's what it comes down to, especially now with like the Indiegogo, like you were talking about.
I say, and this is me personally, and I'm not here to tell anybody what to do with their Indiegogos. So this is me personally. But if I were to ever do an Indiegogo again, which most likely will never happen, I don't like it. I don't enjoy the process of it and everything. I'd rather actually look for real investors instead. But
Mhm.
what I would do is associate producers or executive producers. There's no co-producers, no producer credit because the problem being is that you're not really like the producers are people who are on set working on the project, who are there, give their blood, sweat, and tears, and it's so not fair to them if they get lumped in with people who just gave,
Right.
$1,000, or whatever, which is a lot of money, too, but like still, you know what I mean? Like
Oh, I
executive
get it.
producers is what is the people who actually fund the project. So anywho, Christina, I was a big fan of, so I was really excited when I saw that she was in this movie. And then Franco Nero, I've heard of because he was Django in the original Django Italian cowboy
Okay.
ones
I
that
thought I recognized him from somewhere, but I couldn't figure it out.
later, I think he was in Django Unchained as well, but when Tarantino made Django Unchained, it made a completely different movie than what the actual Django movies were and stuff.
Hmm.
So it was really nice to see him. He was the guy that basically to me is the Deus Ex Machina, comes in at the end and saves the day for the girls, or the girl, well, the girl and the guy and stuff. But so what can you tell me, like, what is this about?
It's about these two girls that go on vacation and they take this little boat trip to some island and I mean I don't do we do spoilers here? Do we
Yeah,
not
we
do
do a lot of
spoilers here?
spoilers, yeah.
Okay, so they go to this island and then they find a killer mermaid, which annoys the life out of me because the way that it's portrayed, she's more like a siren. And I mean, I don't know the technical, like mythological terms and stuff, but like in my head, I was like, that is a siren. What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of annoyed me a little bit too because I was like thinking, do mermaids sing? Like Ariel sung, but like that's a musical,
Right.
or whatever. I don't think mermaids are known for singing. They're mainly known for flopping around and swimming.
Yeah.
Right.
Sirens are usually known for singing and luring the sailors or whoever to their death,
E-
specifically female sirens, kidnapping and killing male suitors.
exactly, which was what she was doing. So she wasn't just, and then on top of that, by the way, did you notice what the original title was?
They had like three or four titles because I watched all the way through the end of the credits, and at the end of the credits, it was like Killer Mermaid. I think Siren was listed. There was something else, and then there was Nymph.
Nymph. Yeah. And I'm like, wait, what were they trying to figure out what she
Did they just
was?
not study their mythological creatures,
Yeah,
like
because they're all different. Like nymphs are like wood animals.
woodland creatures?
Yeah,
Yeah,
woodland creatures. Um, and they're like sexual. That's why we get
mhm,
nymphomaniac from
exactly.
and
Yeah,
stuff. What is it? Sirens are, musical, and they are the ones that will call you, lure you, but they'll call you and you'll get mesmerized and go out and then they'll kill you or
right.
whatever. I think they're also somewhat sexual, if I'm
Yes, they are
correct.
meant to have a sultry, sexual whatever allure
Yeah,
to them.
their music is sultry and everything, which always gets you. The music in this was not sultry.
It
The
was
the
not sultry, no,
No.
not at all.
I was like, why would any man be like into that, Um
Hmm.
then yeah, so basically they go to Montenegro, which is an island in the Balkans. And it is. So I was really I- okay. I thought it was cool that they go on this other island, right? Mamula or something, you know?
Yeah, something like that.
And I was so like excited about that because I was like, oh my God, they got permission somehow or whatever by whoever they had to get permission, or maybe they didn't. I don't know, but they
They
got
just do it
permission.
guerrilla style.
Yeah, they just did it girls. I don't think so because this doesn't seem like that type of movie. But I think they got permission because they had to light everything. They had
Right.
to shoot it well enough. Which I mean, it was lit well. It was all that stuff. Hey, so they get that, and then uh they have this whole island. I was like, man, this would be cool for a movie that's not Killer Mermaid. You know, like you're on that island and maybe there's like the ghosts of all the Nazis that or
Or
the
something. Yeah, you could do a lot with a location like that. I didn't, the thing that I didn't like about the island was like, okay, so I'm going to be real honest with you. I fell asleep to this movie like multiple times. And every
wow,
time I woke up, they were running around this hallway. And I was like, did they just film for 3 hours in the same like hallway? I feel like that was like all that they did.
pretty
Literally
much.
before I got on here, I texted my friend Jason. I was like, hey, I'm about to do this review. Can you tell me how that movie actually ended?
It was so yeah, so the um that was a little bit annoying, I guess, of like that I did not fall asleep. I watched it the whole way through. It did get my attention enough because I kept looking at the time, you know,
Right.
and I was like, all right, so something's gonna happen. And most of the time, for a while, for like 20,
Nothing
30
happened.
minutes, like nothing really happened, or whatever. But um, so basically they're at these two islands. Uh, and what I was more upset about was if it's gonna be called Killer Mermaid, what I thought was gonna happen was they were gonna be at sea, you know?
That makes
And
sense.
the mermaid would come on and kill them when they're like either in the water, like Jaws. Like it gave me Jaws vibes in the beginning of the movie, where like they're floating up to the top, and I was like, this is gonna be a Jaws ripoff. There's gonna be a mayor that comes out and says, we need to, let people go into the water, even though there's a mermaid, killer mermaid in there. Like that would have been awesome. Didn't do that. Instead, it was the story of these and they have that like I don't know cruise ship or something that they were on. I don't want to say yacht because it was really big, but she was like the Christy Klebe I guess or the friend I can't remember. But they were swimming in the thing, right? I think it must have
At
been
the in
the
the pool at the very beginning.
yeah. I
Is that
guess
what you're referring to? Yeah.
I think it was the friend that was swimming because apparently for some reason what's her name doesn't swim. Christina
Yeah, it
Klebe's
was the
character
friend that
doesn't.
was swimming. She gets out of the pool and she yells at her for being on her phone or working or something.
Yeah, which I'm like we never get understand why she didn't swim, right? Or didn't like to
They
swim.
they did give a brief explanation. They said it was right before the friend makes out with the character. Um and she said that it was because Christina's character she had a little brother or something that drowned and had passed away because of it and she was afraid to
Yeah, I
swim
missed
after
that.
that.
I missed that part. I did not hear
Yeah.
that. But I was very confused because she didn't get in the water at that one point, and so they had to pull her, toward the thing and
Onto the
let her
island, yeah.
onto island. But like, but then later she did, and she swam like she knew how to swim like very, very well. And I was
Well,
like,
they
she was
mentioned that
graceful.
like after the brother died, she made her family give her like the swimming lessons and stuff. She just doesn't like to get in the water. She's afraid of it, and building the tension and
Well,
things.
they could have made it more cool if they you went on the water more,
Right.
and stuff. Like there
Yeah,
could
for
be,
it being a mermaid movie, there wasn't a lot of water.
I think that pissed a lot of people off. When I was looking at the IMDb thing, people were so mad that there was only like 3 minutes of Mermaid. Really, like
Yeah.
you see her a couple of times, but you don't see her as the mermaid. You see her as the girl and everything. Then they get the reveal that she's the mermaid. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
but when they showed her in that one, when they find when Christina's character finds her, they show her, I think it was there, they show the mermaid. She's like half out of water, and you could see her tail flopping behind her and stuff. But like she goes from this really beautiful, sultry mermaid creature thing to this almost like one of those violet bioluminescent like fishy things with the sharp teeth from like I like it reminded me of the creatures from like Finding Nemo, and like the way that they went back and forth between the two appearances. I didn't like that at all. I don't like the way that they did that. I feel like they needed to like combine it. You know what I mean? Like I
or
wasn't a
just not
fan of it.
have her be that nasty looking, because that's
Yeah,
even creepier when she's not this nasty looking thing and she's, you know, she's doing that, she's killing everybody. Well, she wasn't killing anybody. Her guy was like that that like there was I guess a bunch of crew that got like shipwrecked there, and
yeah,
she lured all of them to their deaths except for uh two of them I lived, basically one to be her servant slash lover, I guess. I don't know. I don't ask because I don't know what like it seemed like a father figure, like he was
yeah. Her
protecting.
like guardian or something.
Yeah, like yeah, guardian, exactly. And he was there to help protect her. But was he protecting her like literally all
What
they
he was doing, I don't understand that concept. Like, why are you killing people and bringing buckets to her? Like, are you feeding her? Like, what? I don't understand. I don't
that's what
understand
I
that dynamic.
thought, but you never really, except for the bodies that might go in the water after a little bit, you don't really see, you don't see her eating them much. I think she ate a little bit or something, like it just seemed weird. Um, and I like I think they had a cool idea for a concept, and then they just didn't know how to do it,
How to
exactly.
execute it. Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
there's a lot of like lost potential there. I think it could be a really cool film. I like the overall concept. It felt very slow. It felt like there was a lot of like filler. There wasn't enough of the concept or whatever to keep my attention.
I did like the ending where there all of a sudden there's her sisters who are never mentioned before, right? Because obviously, and how does he know her sisters are coming? Like he didn't know about them, I don't think. And you know what I mean? Like this is
Yeah.
very awkward. But it was set up for potential killer mermaids movie,
Hmm.
right? Like a sequel. But I don't think the movie did well enough that, you know, anybody
Right. To
asked
warrant
for
the
a
sequel.
sequel. Nobody
Right.
was asking for Killer Mermaids 2 or Killer Mermaid 2. Um, like I said, I did like the island. There was a lot of like time spent like introducing these characters and kind of getting into things that really at the end of the movie didn't really matter.
Didn't
You
make
know,
sense. Yeah. I felt like they were trying to do a lot with the subplots between like the Lucy and Alex characters and then the fiance and the Bobbin character. Like I just felt like they were trying to do too much and couldn't execute it well enough. Um wasn't a fan of the dialogue, but the dialogue was a little cheesy at times.
hmm Very
I
cheesy.
did one of my favorite lines though, they said something like blood attracts blood, and honestly that was probably my favorite like thing about the entire movie.
hmm
That one line.
One line, I like honestly, it was like it should have been better, you know? Like it had the potential to be better. And
Mhm.
um and I think also they tried so hard to make it where you really cared about the characters. Problem is you don't. I mean, there's just something about especially the main guy was Alex, was that his name? The guy,
Yeah,
the
Alex.
fiance.
Yeah.
Uh he just was a he was just an idiot. Like I just could care less about him. And
I
then
couldn't relate to any of them.
the fiance just drove me nuts because she was
Yeah.
just there to kind of be drama in a way. and
Hmm.
then and but then it was like her friend, the guy, which this makes me laugh because this is real. You know, girls get jealous of the girlfriends that hang out that are friends with the guy, and then the guys get jealous of the guys, right? I have that shit happening, and I'm not even like dating anyone. I have people like are jealous of me being friends with other people, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, chill out. You know,
Let me live my life.
I, you know, I laugh at this movie because it's true, but like then that guy Bob,
Over
Bobbin,
Bobbin, something like that. Yeah.
Bobbin, just call him Bob because that's what
Okay.
he what he wants everyone to call him is Bob. Um, Bob just shows up out of nowhere, right? But he's got to be the extra guy, and I spoiler alert again, but I thought he was gonna live, I honestly did. I was kind of disappointed that he didn't because honestly, he was one of my favorite characters, you know,
Hmm.
just because he was like the most down to earth one.
Right.
Um, Kelly, Christina Cleave's character. I mean, honestly, if she had died, I would have been like, okay, you know,
Oh,
like
that
that
sucks.
happened.
Okay. On to
That
the next one.
happened. Yeah. Like it's sad when, just and I think what made me not like the Kelly character is how obnoxious she got when her friend slept with her ex-boyfriend or whatever. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
not your business. Like,
Right. Chill out.
you yeah. I mean, you personally as a woman, would you have been mad if your friend had gone back with her ex?
My friends and I are very open with each other, and we are always telling each other the things that we don't want to hear because that's what we need to hear. We very, very rarely listen to each other, but we're all aware of it. I wouldn't, it's not that I would have been mad had it been like my friend or something. I would have been like, like, are you sure that that was a good idea? Like, we talked about this. Do we need to go get you some plan B? Like,
Yeah.
how do we move on and do better now?
Yeah. I mean, then see, that's the way to do it. That's understandable. But when she's just kind of being bitchy about it, which,
It almost makes her come off as jealous instead of
yeah,
well, also the fiance, but
yeah, because the other girl didn't, I mean, I don't think she knew that something happened. She might have thought something happened between the fiance, might have thought that something happened between the two, but she never
mm,
said anything or did anything, I don't think. I don't remember her
I don't.
getting mad at. Now, see, there you go. That's drama that could have been brought in there that would have made me care a little bit more, you know?
Mhm.
But because none of that became a thing, like it would have been great if the fiance overheard the other girl or the guy or somebody, and there's some
Right.
drama while they're on the rock. So maybe like the girl goes off on her own and then she gets lured and killed or whatever. And that's the thing. That's how you do these movies is you kill each character off one by one, you know,
Hmm.
while they're isolated. Because when you watch a horror movie, the one thing you always yell at these people about is don't separate,
Don't split up.
don't split up. But most of the time, when they're in these horror films, they don't know they're in a horror film. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they're not going to act like they're in a horror film. They're going to just do whatever, and all of a sudden they get split up, person dies, whatever, and then eventually they find, and they're on a huge island. They could have done anything with that. Like that was really disappointing that they could have you're right. They stuck to like the same hallways and shit.
Hmm.
Maybe that's all they got permission to shoot, you know?
Maybe. Maybe it was some kind of like historical building or something. Who knows? But yeah, I
I
felt
mean,
like they spent way too much time in those tunnels.
and I think they shot at the real island, or whatever.
Mhm.
And once again, I liked the island and I liked the history. It was a
Yeah.
history lesson in a way. So I was not aware of that island. I didn't know it was used in the World War II for a concentration camp. Like that was cool to hear, you know?
Yeah, like they were onto something there. They should have done more with that concept, that subplot, that that would have kept my attention.
There's a movie that I did for I think it was for Indie Film Cafe called Sharkenstein, you know, and that was like a German shark Frankenstein movie, you know. So he's a like shark that was made from Nazis and blah blah blah. That
Hmm.
that was done well. That would have been what this movie should have gone, but unfortunately they didn't go like I think they tried to make too mainstream of a B movie, you know,
Gotcha. Okay.
where it's not where they're trying to be serious and trying to be like a real movie, but like make a movie called Killer Mermaid. Come on now. Like
Right.
I guess I mean at least that's what the end title is, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it was like I said, they made a movie and that deserves recognition. And there were some cool parts and there were just I'm not a fan. And there were like 19 different, I don't know how many people do you need to produce this with? Like
Oh
when in the
God,
opening thing,
yes.
I was like, what is happening here?
I've heard like there's another movie recently done that did the same thing where everybody sort of laughed at the fact that they had so many different producers, production companies that produced the movie or whatever. So you had like it shows one, and it shows two, shows three, and then three is generally the cap off. At least,
Mhm.
one or two is is the most is what is normally, but like if there's three, like okay, I'll let that slide. But then there's four, there's five, there's six, and I feel like it went up to 10. I don't know. There
There
was
were a lot.
maybe it was six because then I was like, okay, so then it said something presents, right? And I go, oh no, it's gonna have the in association with, and it did, and it's an association with all of these different companies. I'm like, oh God, thank God it wasn't like an association with this, association with that. While the credits were rolling. Um,
Right?
so yeah, I was shocked that they had so many people. Sometimes it takes a lot to make a movie, right? You need
Right.
funding from all these different sources, but that might have been the problem.
Maybe that
Um,
was my thought too. I was like, they probably because I saw one of them was like a catering company or something, so maybe they provided all the craft services or whatever. So,
Maybe. Um, but like what I'm thinking is like, when those producers generally get, if their production company is up there, that means that they had some involvement in the process of it. And I wonder how many cooks were in that kitchen. And that might have been the problem is like one person wanted to make a Killer Mermaid movie. One person wanted to make a Siren movie. One person wanted to make a weird nymph movie that had nothing, whatever, right? And they kind of threw it all together into one movie, and that just kind of shows with all the different companies.
right,
And it's just like it gets lost. Like, there's got to be one writer, one director. It can be the same person. And there can be up to three writers. That's fine, but they all have to kind of agree that this is the script we're going to go with, and this is the
right. They
script we're
got to
going
be
to
on the
do.
same page.
Right. Otherwise, what's the point? When shit's trouble, like, the biggest problem right now is like the Captain America Brave New World movie is coming out next year in February. And even though the trailer looks hot, like that, I was very surprised. That's gone through so many problems and so many issues. They had to reshoot and spend so much more money. It's ridiculous. Um, Stuff like that, it's because people like one person says this is a great idea, and then all of a sudden it
The
becomes
people don't agree. Yeah.
yeah, and it becomes something much different. And so I don't know. I didn't hate the movie by any stretch of the imagination. I don't know if I'd want to watch it again. There's
Right.
better mermaid movies out there, killer mermaid movies. Um, I and would I recommend it? Because you said no when you first started. If you want to watch a good movie, no. If you want to watch a cheesy bad, I'll be with you on that. If you're like a mermaid completist and you want to watch every mermaid movie ever made, I mean, sure, why not? But just know there's only like 3 minutes total of a
Of the
mermaid.
actual mermaid, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
My friend Jason absolutely hated the way her fin looked. Absolutely hated it.
that it was terrible. Because at one point I think it was CGI.
I think so.
Because like when it just like starts flopping up the first time, I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't look like that's on her. Like that looks like it's, CGI, which it could be. Um, that that, and then there was like you could tell there was a mermaid outfit that she was wearing when she was on the land, or
Yes.
whatever. But even then, it just got so so boring with her. Like,
hmm
you know, she was not she was not a killer really until the end of the movie where I guess the other guy was gone or supposedly gone, Did she bring him back to life?
I couldn't tell you. I slept through that part.
I think she brought him back to life because I think she like kissed him or something, and then his eyes open, or whatever. And I'm like, oh God, really? We can do this kind of shit? And then so he came back to life, and he came back onto the deck or whatever and stuff. And then the other guy killed her, and stuff. Thank God, But then killing her and causing this stuff caused all the girls for some reason they know she's dead, so they're all coming, which was pretty cool because you see sort of like the water, and then you see like um white stuff, right? Like you can see that some fish are down there or whatever, so it's obviously the mermaids come in to attack and stuff, and they do this a lot of B movies do this, because they want to have a sequel. They want to open
Right.
end it for a sequel. And then Christina Cleave's character says something like, I don't want to die right now or something. And I'm like, oh God. Like just go, leave, Like mermaids can't attack you when you're on land, really. Just don't go in the water, you know? I
Yeah.
mean, they can get on the land, but they can't survive for very long, you know? And they're just going to be flopping to try to get you. You can
Right. It's not
easily
like they're
get
gonna grow legs and run.
right.
That's a different kind of mermaid movie.
I know that there's two of those movies. There's the Little Mermaid, and then there's Splash, which I
Mhm.
think was a lot of fun. Um, both are now Disney products, so that's funny. Um, but yeah, I honestly I don't know. I wanted this to be a lot better. Um, I didn't have any I didn't have anything going in. Like I didn't have any thoughts like, is this gonna be good and stuff?
Right.
Like I just went in open minded, like, you know, but yeah, I don't know. This was
Yeah.
I was surprised you were like, okay, I'm cool with what you doing this and not messaging me going, what the hell did you have me watch?
Well, that was
Mm.
only because I fell asleep.
Right.
Otherwise, you probably would have gotten a few interesting messages.
Really. Um, yeah, well, so this was worse than Decoys.
Yeah, I liked Decoys better than this.
Decoys was a more well-made movie. Also on
It
Tubi,
was,
everybody,
yeah.
if you want to see it. But this one was just, I think, just I don't know, maybe too many cooks in the kitchen. I love Christina. I think she did the best she could with what she had, you know. I don't know. I just felt like there's so much stuff they
There
could
were
have.
there were a lot of missed opportunities. It was very predictable at times. There wasn't a whole lot of special effects. They had some cool locations that they could have done a lot more with. Yeah, I just, I was hoping it would be a little bit better. At
Is there
first, I thought it was going to be a I Know What You Did Last Summer knockoff at the very beginning when the guy comes up with to the girl, the blonde girl with the hook and the rain boots and everything. First thing out of my mouth, oh, this is going to be an I Know What You Did Last Summer thing.
which is weird considering it's called Killer Mermaid and stuff. So like that was what pissed me off is like the guy comes in and starts killing everybody and I'm like, wait a minute.
hmm
Where's the fucking mermaid? Like, why? I mean,
If
they
you're gonna,
had
if you're gonna do a Killer Mermaid movie, the first scene should probably be because of the mermaid.
right, like, and I think, well, the guy fell into the water, jumped into the water to
Then,
his
yeah.
death or whatever to be with the mermaid or whatever, and then girl got killed with the hook guy
The
or
hook
whatever.
was. Who are these
Which
people messing with? Okay.
I don't understand this. Like, I don't understand why they couldn't have just why couldn't it be about a bunch of friends who are at the beach, or whatever, and a mermaid being there, you know, and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, why did it have to go into this island? Why did it have to do all that stuff? Like, why? Like, it feels like two different movies here, maybe
Yeah, it's
three.
almost like they combined a bunch of stuff together,
No,
and then it didn't work out the way as well as they wanted it to.
nope. And I mean, all in all, it just needed better writing,
It
honestly.
needed more, period.
Yeah, better writing, better. The direction wasn't bad, you know.
No, the
Or
direction wasn't bad.
the guy who directed it, let me see real quick. I think he hadn't really done. I'm gonna guess. So he is his name's Milan Todorovic. He's a Serbian film director, producer, and writer. See, that's another thing. Is I feel like there was maybe lost in translation a little bit of things. So maybe they had some great ideas, but like it just got lost. Um, but that guy's been doing some good stuff. He was on there's a show called The Outpost that was on CW. He directed episodes of that. Directed episodes of Almost Paradise. He directed an episode of that. So that was after Killer Mermaid. Um, but before Killer Mermaid, he did a movie called Zone of the Dead. Um,
That sounds familiar.
yeah, it's on Tubi as well, so maybe you saw the cover of it.
Maybe.
But yeah, so he had done a couple things, and he's done like television a lot. He does feel like a television director, and that might be why he did a decent job. Um,
Right. Maybe that's his forte and not so much a feature length.
exactly. Then the writers, one is Barry Keating, and he's done, well, I haven't heard of any of these movies, but they look good. Um, that doesn't necessarily mean anything because I probably thought this, this looked good. And then, so you did a movie called The Rift, Dark Side of the Moon, which, is on the Roku channel. Downhill, which is on Tubi. The Ghosts of Garrep. Um, okay. Night World, Door of Hell, Havana Darkness, Ghosts of Monday. Ghosts of Monday. Is that a bored ghost? The Ghosts of Monday. Oh, Monday sucks. You know. And then Invoking Yell. All right. So those are
Okay.
all sort of newer movies by Barry Keating. And Milan Kolunjevic was the co-writer, and he also did Zone of the Dead. So he's worked with that other Milan guy. Wait, is that the same guy? The same director? Nope, they're they both have Milan as their names. So, but anyway, they both work together. So I'm guessing that was a decision to have him co-write and make sure the director's ready for this or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And the producers, you said like the producing, we said the produce. There's only 8 producers listed. So I wonder if there's like one
Only.
per. Yeah. The director is the executive producer. Christina Klebe is an associate producer. Ivan Ribisevich. Um, he was and I'm butchering people's names, so if I did, I'm sorry. But he was a visual effects supervisor on a bunch of stuff. Did he do the? That would make sense if, yep, he did the visual effects supervising for the Killer Mermaid. Um, so that he was the one we can blame for the bad
for the
CGI
for that.
for that. He also worked with the guy on a bunch of projects. So,
Okay.
um, and then yeah, so everybody else, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce those names. So all it seems like a bunch of people from Serbia came in and tried to make a movie, and they got together. They got all these production companies, and they made it. It's done. They put it out. Christina Klebe for some whatever, probably free trip to the Balkans. Like
Maybe.
right, like she's getting paid to go travel. Like that's what I mean. You wouldn't mind, right? You
I
know,
wouldn't mind at all. Feel free to send me those requests.
I know. See, that's the funny thing is like actors will go be in crappy movies if they know they can travel to wherever because
If we
like
feel
they've
like
never
it's
been there.
worth it, yeah. If we get to travel, if we're getting paid, if it's something we feel like we can do justice to, if we feel like we can do a really great job with that character, yeah.
Yeah, even if the movie sucks, that's not your fault as an actor.
Right.
That's and as a director, you know that because the director and the producer and the writer are all really the main people to blame because like you can't have the casting without the director or in producer, talking and kind of agreeing on that. And you can't have any of the other stuff that happens without the producer to be involved and all this other stuff. So like
Hmm.
those crew members are very vital to a movie. And so as an actor, you go in there, you give the best stand performance you possibly can. You might even be off because like you had a bad day that day or something, but you give you the best performance you can have, then the then the movie sucks. It ain't your fault. You did your best. Um, so hopefully people understand like it happens. Some movies just something happens with it and and maybe that's a bit of what they talked about in the Q&A. I would love to see if there's a video of the Q&A there. I I might one day own this movie just to have it, like on
Hmm.
DVD or Blu-ray. Um, just because, it's I always like to have I want to have every movie in the world one day if I could. That would be nice, but
That's quite a
probably
lofty goal.
I well, I started with saying like, oh, I want all the Criterion films, and that is a lofty goal too, because they're up to like 1,200,
Yeah.
and I've only got like maybe 100 and something. And so I'm heading there, but
Baby
still got
steps,
like
baby steps.
yeah, still got like 1,000 to go. And they're announcing like 4 or 5 titles a month. So up on top of what I already, right? So like it's gonna be a long ass time before I can whatever get even near close to that. I'm kind of jealous of one of my friends who actually has every single Criterion film ever done because he started collecting you
When
know,
they first started.
when they first started. And that, is like, oh man, that's what I gotta do is like get involved with the company, prior to them when they first start, or whatever. But yeah, all in all, yeah, I don't necessarily recommend this movie unless you really, really, really badly want to watch a Killer Mermaid movie. But I'm very happy I saw it. So now I don't have to ever watch it again. Um, See, we watched the movie, so you don't have to. Because if you're like
Exactly.
thinking about watching this show or this movie, and you're like, I wonder if Killer Mermaid's good, watch our review, and we will spoil the shit out of it, and then you can decide whether or not you wanna, if it sounds
Whether
like
you
something
want
you
to
want
watch
to see.
it too or not. Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe, it's funny because Matt Skinner, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Everybody loves it.
I love Matt. Whenever I tell Matt like this movie's so bad, blah blah blah, it makes him want to see it more.
Yep.
So maybe, he'll want to watch Killer Mermaid. I don't know.
I can't
Uh,
wait. I can't wait until he does because I feel like at some point he's gonna watch it.
it's
And I can't
well,
wait to see his post about it after the fact.
because because he looks at things differently than you and I.
He does.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
think
always good to have that other mindset, that open mind, somebody else's perspective.
well, especially somebody who's not necessarily in the film business, who's more of a fan, and he is because he's a great Indiegogo donator. Don't get me
He
wrong.
supports the shit out of everybody, yeah.
He supports everybody. He contributes to tons of freaking campaigns, and then he also he wrote his own movie or something, or wrote like the idea of the for the
Yeah,
air
with
fryer thing.
the air fryer one, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
excited for them.
I'm
That looks
excited
like
for
it's
that to
gonna be
come
a
out.
fun one.
I'll buy that when that comes out for sure because
Mhm.
I want to. A lot of my friends are in that movie. I'm like, "God," it seems like cameos, like small roles, but still,
Yeah,
I love that. Um, but yeah, anyway, I love to hear other people who, especially people who are, in that are just getting into the business more or aren't in the business at all, because those are the people who these movies are for, to like for them to watch. Whether or not they like it or not, that's another story. Because in
right,
horror film lovers like myself and yourself even, I would say, we all we're all very picky, and we're
we
all
we're very
you know,
picky.
right, and we're very hard on other movies that and that's why Indie Film Cafe exists in a way, because even though I might be friends with somebody, I'm going to be honest about my opinion, and I'm going to say whatever. And if they don't want me to review their movies anymore, I won't, or whatever.
Right.
Well, some some people I'm still going to review their movie because I don't give a crap what they say. But that's the thing. Like, but if I'm really good friends with them and they just aren't happy with that, like with a review of mine, and that's happened a couple times where people weren't happy, and I was like, all right, well, I just won't review another one of your movies because it doesn't seem like you enjoy this,
Right.
process. Um, I'm not trying to be down on the indie scene at all, and with all these things, it's just sometimes a movie doesn't live up to like the title or the premise, you know?
Right.
And this definitely did not live up to the premise, which sucks. Should have. And I sort of hope that maybe, I mean, it seems like the guys had gone on and continue to work, so it's not like this hurt them at all,
Right.
but it just feels like another movie that's gone on to Tubi, because Tubi almost, it feels like Tubi accepts almost everything. As long as you follow the rules, Tubi will accept your movie, and there's gonna get to a point where Tubi's gonna stop, because Tubi's already making their own original content and everything,
Yeah.
and I think they are being a little bit pickier about what they pick up. Um,
Yeah,
but
there have been some changes recently about what they're willing to accept.
yeah, which they should. They shouldn't just accept everything, because then you're you know crap is being put out, and
Mhm.
people are not going to watch. We live in a world right now that you said you fell asleep. If you weren't doing the review, people would, people who fall asleep, they to turn it off after, like, and not watch that, like not continue
Right.
watching it. They'll be like, this put me to sleep. I don't want this anymore. And you don't want that on your, on Tubi doesn't want that. They want, well, unless you fall asleep and then the movie plays all the way through, then everybody
Then
gets
okay,
their money.
whatever. But yeah,
Yeah, everybody gets their money. So, uh, so that's the thing a lot of people don't realize, is that's how filmmakers get their money, is that you have to watch
Mhm.
the whole freaking movie, whether you like it or not, you know. That's why I always like, I kind of tell people that if they want to support their local friends or whatever, just turn the movie on and walk away, go downstairs, do whatever, like, and you've
Go
just
wash your
supported.
dishes,
Yeah, if
something.
you don't want to watch it or something, it's not something you're into, but you still want to support your friends. That's a good way to do it, you know?
That's
Um,
what I do when I clean my house. I'll put on like a couple of friends' film, then I'll just let them play through, and I have my background noise that keeps me. I have one of those weird brains where I need some kind of background noise to keep focused. So like I'll throw something like that on, and I'll just go mop my floor or do whatever I need to do.
do you sleep with the TV on?
No, I sleep with a fan on.
Okay. But the fan noise, does that help or something or
For me, it does, yeah.
okay. I hate the fan because I guess I'm cold-blooded or whatever. I like the heat, you know? I guess that's right. Is it because I thought it was the opposite, right? Cold-blooded likes the heat. Hot blood
I
likes the cold.
believe, yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
I could be
whatever.
wrong, but
I'm cold-blooded. I'm sorry. That sounds really bad. Usually that means you're a killer or something.
or
But
something.
yeah. But no, I hate uh yeah, I'm not a fan person. I don't like the cold, so I don't do that. I can't have anything. I've got ADHD, so if I hear unless it's like soothing like ASMR or something. But if it's not ASMR and it's just on the television, or whatever, I want to watch the TV,
Hmm.
like I want to see the visuals. So I will not pay attention. I won't go to sleep. And so I always have it off. But it's always fun to hang out with people who like to keep the music on or your TV on when you're sleeping and you're like, I don't
Yeah,
want to do that, but all right.
I have a hard time sleeping when the TV is on.
Yeah, understandable. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like the only background noise if I'm doing cleaning or something, I do like to listen to music. So I will
Yeah,
put like music on in the background. But once again, I don't like to hear people talking or doing because I like to watch. So it
right.
just distracts me and I'll
Makes
end up
sense.
watching a YouTube video instead of cleaning if I do that. So if I'm listening to music and there's nothing really on the thing except for the music, I can be able to just drown out and do cleaning or whatever.
Right.
Probably need to do it today or not today, tomorrow or something. It's a little late. But anywho, well, I guess that about wraps it up. I mean, there's really not much else to talk about. I would suggest checking this movie out if you really like mermaid movies.
Or if you just really like terribly made B movies, also go check it out.
Yeah,
That's
it's
that's
not the
one of the
worst
things I
movie of
enjoy. So
it's not the worst movie of all time or anything. Like,
no, it could be a
sorry.
lot worse.
What? It could be
It could
worse.
be a lot worse. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think this will be on anyone. I don't think this will be on anyone's worst films list unless they haven't really watched that many films.
You're
Like,
right.
because I guarantee you there's a lot more movies that are worse than this. I I've talked about this before on I think this on 31 Days. But Siskel and Ebert talk about like was it they have like they used to have their best or their worst films of like that year, and they say those are not the worst films because the worst films they don't even want to talk about,
You're right. They
right?
don't even
It,
watch them.
yeah, they don't want people to watch them. They don't want to talk about. Those these are like the most disappointing. And I think that fits with this. This is not the worst film. This is like one of the most disappointing films I've seen because there was so much potential. So,
Yeah, I
uh,
can agree with that.
yeah, I hope if they ever make a Killer Mermaids 2, which I doubt they would because this was like 10 years ago that they made this and I'm pretty sure in the 10 years that that this they haven't made another one. So I don't think it's going to happen, but who knows? Somebody from Tubi may be like, "Hey, it's doing really well. Let's, produce
Right.
a sequel to this, or
Three
whatever."
people just watched it this weekend.
That's funny. I'm surprised your friend watched it too. Like,
Well, I made him, so.
so were you watching it through Zoom or something?
No, I was out. I stayed at his place a couple of days last week because they premiered a film that he had written and directed, and I wanted to be there for it. I was his AD
Nice.
on it, so we watched it in his living room.
I'm sorry, Jason. I'm sorry. I didn't
His,
know.
his,
Like this
he,
is a blind
his
buy.
His
Yeah.
biggest complaint was the tail. And then he said that I had fallen asleep, which I knew that I was having a hard time. I was having a hard time. And towards the end, he said he tried to wake me up. He said, "Hey, you're gonna miss the end." And I said, "Yes." And I just went right back to sleep.
That's funny.
Yeah, my
Um,
mom's downstairs watching it now because I wanted to refresh my memory a little bit before I hopped on here with you. And she's adorable. I love her to death. I love watching these kind of films with her. It's kind of like how we bond. And
wait,
so the fisherman guy came up and she was like, "Oh, I know what you did last summer." I was like, "No." And then when the girl was taking the pictures in the well, she's like, "Oh, she's gonna drop her phone in that well." Like, "Hey, you're getting kind of good at this, Ma."
he's gonna drop the phone in the well, and on top of that, like that's kind of like the ring, right? You know, the well, the girl in
Yeah.
the well, which
The
would have
yep.
been cool if the girl came out of the well,
If the mermaid was like crawling her way up.
yes, wouldn't that have been awesome? Like
Yeah,
missed
that would have been better.
opportunities. Yes. See, we're writing a better movie than what we actually saw. That's the funniest thing about watching these movies. You're like, man, so many missed opportunities that these
Mhm.
filmmakers had that just sucks, Like I just wish it were better, you know? Um,
Yeah.
but in the same sense, you know, they went out, they made it. It was an hour and a half, you know. Was it a waste of time? Not really. Maybe to you it was because you fell asleep. So it was
I
a
mean,
waste
I
of time.
slept great that night, so
So that's how you recommend this. This for if you want to be put to sleep, watch Killer Mermaid.
if I were to recommend it, I would say if you're looking for a really cheesy B-rated movie and you like mermaids, then I would go give this a shot, and then I would want to hear their opinions afterwards.
Oh God. Well, I hope. And that's like kind of the thing with 31 Days of Indie Horror is for 31 days people get these options of like movies to go check out.
Mhm.
And some are going to be better than others, and whatnot. And I think that most people see this movie, and I mean, like you said, I think that you had heard of it or something, or seen like the
I saw like the poster like on Tubi, like the like as you're scrolling through, you know what I mean? Like I didn't know anything about it other than, oh, cool, Killer Mermaid.
right. My another one of my friends said the exact same thing. It's like, I think I've heard of that one. And I said, I think you saw it on Tubi as well. She goes, oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
And
I'm
so
more than like,
that's probably what most people probably see because it gets recommended, for your algorithms for if you watch cheesy bad movies,
right.
like me. All of a
I
sudden
mean,
I'm get and you, right? Like you like those kind of things. So you're like all of a sudden you get all these cheesy movies and then some lean into the cheese, you know, like the Polonia brothers, or well, Mark
yes.
Polonia. He loves cheese, right? And everybody, Matt Burns loves cheese, and all, the stuff are cheesy on purpose. They know
Mhm.
what they're doing when they make these movies. When they do this, I think they try to make something serious. I'm like, dude, your movie's called Killer Mermaid. It's not, you
It's,
know,
uh,
it's not
it's
called The Cure for Cancer. Like,
right. It's not meant to be a serious movie.
all right. And so I mean, whatever. If people like it, people like it. I would love to hear those people like it. The I don't think on any of the IMDb ones, like any of the, let me
There
see,
were no good ones. There has to be at least one.
a person who worked on the film, maybe trying to trying to get it up there. Like, why did nobody like the director? Why did nobody like my movie? Um, uh, let's see. There's okay. Let me give you the thing. 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 2 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 3 out of 10. One guy just said pretty on the thing, and he goes, "That's the best I can say about the movie. The girls were pretty." That was it. 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 2 out of 10. One didn't even have anything out of 10. 9 out of 10.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Nymph,
there's
aka Mamula. Mamula was the other title, I guess, that
okay,
you saw.
Mamula.
by young filmmaker well, okay, Milan
That
T
guy.
is a fun haunted house romp that I thoroughly enjoyed. As noted by another reviewer here, T manages to pack atmosphere, scares, and intrigue into his film while avoiding the recent trend in horror films toward torture porn. That's not to say that Nymph is without its gritty thrills. So it's going by the original title, I guess. There is plenty of blood, scary fun, and lovely skin to be seen here. Here, T simply chooses to tell a story without punishing his audience. I don't know if that's necessarily true. You fell asleep. That seems to be punishing. Well, I guess, he puts you to sleep. That's
At
very
least a
nice.
calming. Well, I'm
Um,
also a Cancer, so like water does have a calming effect on me. So
there you
we
go.
can attribute it to that.
Wait, are Capricorns water or earth? We're earth signs.
Uh,
I don't think we're
the
water
water signs
signs.
are Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, and I want to say Capricorn. I'm not sure. I honestly am not sure.
Hold on a second. Let me find out. I was an earth sign, but
We're
water
gonna Google
sign.
that too.
I know. I'm sorry. You're like people are gonna be like, what does this have to do with anything? Um,
Rather
okay,
have
so
water
Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces are water
Scorpio.
signs. It makes sense because I think there's four earth, wind, water, right? So there's
Yeah,
four
yeah, that's true.
sign things. So what's earth? I guarantee you, earth signs, is yep, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So I'm
Okay,
an earth
yeah, yeah,
sign. But anyway, I love the water. A lot of people are very surprised because there's a lot I don't like. I don't like westerns. I don't like typical cowboy westerns. Get bored with
yeah.
those.
So that's so funny because my dad watches Westerns. So like my Tubi, when I go through my Tubi, like the first line is all the B horror movies that I like, and then the next one is comedies, and then the next one is all the Westerns that my dad watches.
There you
It's like,
go.
okay.
I don't no, I'm not a real big western fan. I'm not a big zombie fan. I think zombies are silly. I'm not a big found footage fan. And like there got to be a point where one of my friends was like, "Is there anything you actually like?" And I never told them, but at the time because I never thought about it. But I like water movies. I like movies set on the water, like
Hmm.
ships, pirates, adventure like that on the high seas or whatever, and water, shark stuff,
Yeah,
things because those to me are just fun and they're just enjoyable and they're harder to make. So that means that like people put more effort, I believe,
you're right.
into
More
them,
effort and more time into it.
more
More
time
blood,
and
sweat, and tears.
exactly. But I'm not. I was really disappointed because this is a movie that should have been set on the water, and we're only on the water for like 5 minutes, maybe, if even. It was him rowing the boat at one point, and then going to the island, and then them on the big cruise ship, or
Hmm.
whatever in the beginning. Which I'm like, did they just rent out like a chance to be on the cruise and then
All
and took
right.
aerial shots of it? I don't know. It was crazy. It was weird though, because did you notice anybody else on that cruise?
No,
Like
it looked
any
like it was
extras?
literally just them. There were no other people on there whatsoever.
That was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there not that I saw anyway.
No, I don't remember anybody. Like generally you could put crew members on there like walking around looking like there's at least some other people. If there were like four other people, I could be like, okay, this is a small crew. Well, it wasn't a small, it's a big, huge one. So you'd think that there would be a lot of people and the pool would be packed or something. But I guess they couldn't afford extras or something, which is ridiculous that I mean, I guess they can even afford a real fin, you know,
Right.
like girl, I don't know. I think we talked too much about this movie. So yeah, so see it once again. We're gonna say this once more. See it if you want to watch cheesy B movie, mermaid movie, but if you don't, all right. So this will be in October. When October rolls around, are you gonna be what are you gonna be up to?
In October, I will be at the Blood and Breakfast premiere October 27th at the Waynesboro Theater. We should be finishing up the Sibylla 6 around that time. I'm taking a trip to Salem, Massachusetts towards the end of October too, so I'm really excited about that.
How's Anna Key going?
Aniki is doing very, very well. She is on the festival circuit right now. So I've won my third award as a director, so that was pretty exciting.
Nice.
Jesse Green's gotten a few Best Actor awards. Abby Hendricks has gotten an award or two. Russell Sage Patrick. The movie itself has gotten three or four now. So very
Awesome.
exciting. We've got a few more coming up, and then we're gonna look into distribution or like streaming. Yeah, so she's doing very well. We're proud
Good.
of her.
Yeah. She's staying strong, you know.
Mm.
So awesome. Yeah, I saw when I saw the premiere, I'm like, oh, so I wonder if the movie's gonna come on digital or DVD at some point soon.
It's in the works. We just have to kind of be cautious with the festivals and stuff right now. It's all some of them have like requirements where it can't be distributed yet. That's all.
Yeah. So you gotta not distribute it until all the festival stuff is worked out. Um,
Yeah.
that's awesome to be able to do the festival circuit. So, well, I wish you luck on that and everybody and everything. Everybody join me next tomorrow for a brand new episode. I don't know what it is. I never know. I kind of just put them together, whichever ones, and then in order, of it. So we'll see. But until then, everybody, hope you guys have a good one and join us tomorrow or me tomorrow. Until then, everybody, bye.